Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year. Happy January 1st. Just wanted to pop in and say hi. And it's a cool, cloudy day today. And it is rainy, kind of spitting rain. But it is January 1st, and I think it's in the mid-40s today and the rest of the week. I think they said, I thought I saw something like 60 one of the days of the week, which is unheard of. But I don't know about you, but so last year for me it was crazy, but I don't think it was a terrible year. I feel like I've had some life events happen like every year since apparently since 2015. So last week my stepdad died. I don't want to say died suddenly. It wasn't like a cardiac arrest or anything like that. It was, he was having stomach pains and he went in and they said that he in the imaging he had some masses. Well, they said he had a mass on his pancreas. They assume it was pancreatic cancer, but they hadn't had a biopsy yet. And then there were masses like throughout his body as well. And I was kind of praying that I kept like putting off. I'm like, no, it can't be. We don't know for sure that it's cancer because you don't have the biopsy yet. Like I kept thinking like, okay, maybe it is, but let's hope it's not. Let's pray it's not. And so he had been in the hospital for about a week and a half before I even knew he was in the hospital and sick. But when we went to visit him the first night, he was sitting up on the edge of the bed. He was eating and drinking, and it didn't look like he was in pain, but I think he said he was on morphine. So yeah, he wouldn't have some pain. And he was a little rambly. He was telling some stories that didn't quite make sense to me as I was listening. But I mean, it was good to see him active, eating, drinking, asking questions, being himself. The next night, my husband stopped by with Popeyes, fast food, because he likes to spoil them. And he stopped by about dinner time, but my stepdad had been curled up fast asleep, so my husband didn't want to bother him. He came home. But apparently that night, he coded. They brought him back. So the next day, that evening, he died in his sleep, during his sleep. And I think it was Thursday is when they did the biopsy, or he was scheduled to have the biopsy. And they said they weren't going to know the results for a little while, but they're assuming again it's pancreatic cancer. If it's pancreatic cancer, the prognosis is not good, and it's usually very suddenly passing. Pancreatic cancer doesn't let a person stay alive very long. So I kind of knew that was going to be the case at some point. But they said they were getting ready. They were assuming it was cancer, getting him ready for hospice, and that's the last that I heard. And then like the next morning, I think it was on December 31st, so it must have been Friday, I guess, was the message that he had died in his sleep. So anyway, what does this have to do with anything, Tam? What does it have to do with gardening? It maybe doesn't. It's just outlooks on life. He was very, he had a lot of opinions. He was a very strong opinion person, and he had a very independent streak, and he was not happy about being sick, that's for sure. And so the only comfort I get about it is that, that he died soon and didn't have to like prolong things in the hospital on hospice and things like that, and that people didn't have to, watch him waste away and then have memories of him as like a weak person. To me, he still looked strong. He still looked stubborn, independent, that kind of thing. And my point is, listen, there's a lot of people that say that last year was just terrible and this year's got to be better. And And I just, I wish everyone well. I wish everyone joy. And joy and happiness are a little different. But I gotta say that there are no guarantees. We have no guarantees in life. Zero. I mean, there's a Bronco right here. He could crash into me and I could die. I live in the country where it's very dark and deer are out everywhere. They could jump in front of my car and die. They could come through my windshield and I could get killed. We have no guarantees. Zero guarantees in life. The only thing we can do is watch what we think, how we think. I think we've got to watch our thoughts, how it affects our emotions and our moods and everything else that goes on. And so if you think that a brand new year is going to wipe everything away and wipe it all clean and start off brand new, then your expectations are like way up here. Your expectations are really, really high about a new year, bringing a new joy and new everything. And everything's going to be roses and unicorns and fairy dust. Because when reality hits and there's a car accident, or any other thing that goes on, a flood in your ceiling, whatever there's going on, then your expectations were here and reality was here, and you're going to feel like crap. And I don't want you to feel like crap. I want you to know that you're going to have highs and lows. If you've been on a roller coaster and you've been strapped in, you go up the hill slow, you come down fast, you go back up again, and that is how life is. It just is that way. There's no guarantees. But I can guarantee you this. If you got a crappy attitude, you're going to have a crappy year. You got a crappy attitude, you're going to have a crappy day, a crappy week, a crappy month. And I really want good things for you. And we can decide to have thoughts that help us. That have thoughts that help us to have better feelings about what's going on in our lives or not going on in our lives. We have no idea what this year's going to hold. I hope it's good things, but you know what? My mindset is going to be that no matter what happens, I'm not going to love it. Who loves it when bad things happen? Nobody. I don't love when bad things happen. On the other hand, I am not going to let it slow me down. There is an enemy that wants you incapacitated. This enemy wants you discouraged, despairing, discontent, everything that's dysfunctional. The enemy wants you in a fetal position, sucking your thumb, because you're useless then. I don't want you to be useless. I want you to press on. I want you to be able to still reach out to people when you're hurting. I want you to be able to check on an elderly neighbor, or to, talk to the small child who lost a loved one. I want you to be able to visit with your cousins who've lost their mother. But there is an enemy that doesn't want you to do that. So when we found out my stepdad was in the hospital, like I said, we went the first night and he was up and about. The second night, my husband brought him Popeyes that he could enjoy. And when we went to visit the first night, my husband had actually put Christmas food in containers for him. There was like prime rib and there was mac and cheese and all this good stuff from Christmas and cookies, and he even had some cinnamon rolls that he made the day after Christmas in the morning. And so he packed up containers for him and brought it to him that first night. And sleeping. So my husband was in his car, and he had the Popeyes in his car, and then he went to the grocery store, so he got some groceries. And as he was pulling out of the parking lot of the grocery store to go north on one of the roads near us, a main road, a car was coming south and crunched him. Like the back left driver's side wheel well, and the tire bent in. And so I got a message that said, I've been hit. And I was like, oh crap. And I waited to see if he was going to send me anything else. And then after a little bit, I said, do you need a ride? And I was hoping he wasn't going to need a ride, that the car was going to be okay. But no, he said he needed a ride. So I go to up there where he is, which it wasn't far. It was only about 3 miles down the road. And the 2 cars were in the parking lot again. The police were there by then. And I asked him if he had, called for a tow truck, and he said, yeah, I tried, but, and he was very angry. He was very frustrated. I mean, he tries to go see my stepdad, goes to the hospital, thinks he's going to, spend some time with him, and he couldn't do that. And then he gets hit when he's got a car full of stuff. Anyway, he said, yeah, I was going to try to call for a tow truck, but they want me to start a claim. I was like, okay. I know he was angry, and I know he's pissed, and he was surprised, and now he's thinking about, I got to fix my car, what am I going to do for work, and all this other stuff. So I get where he was coming from, but I was like, you know what? Okay, let me have your phone. This is what I will do for you. Then I didn't say this to him, but I said, I'm going to, let me talk to them. I'll get the claim going. We'll get the thing going. We'll get a tow truck. And I was trying to, be as just calm, matter of fact, whatever. Because I don't need to be flipping out too. And I'm good about worrying. I'm really good about worrying. I can anticipate problems like nobody's business. I'm really good at that. I was raised well that way. So I finally get through with the insurance lady. She says, we got you a tow truck secured. They're going to send you a text and tell you how long until it comes. And I think this was, by then, it was like 8 o'clock at night. And the tow truck message came through, and they said it was going to be like 180 to 210 minutes before they were going to come. And I was just like, by this time, after I'd done going through the claim and giving information and stuff, by this time, my husband was just like, he had finally channeled all of his anger. He was so pissed. So he had gone out, and because the tire had like bent in at the top for the car, it was rubbing against the metal of the car. So, smartness, he switched out the regular tire for the donut, which was a little bit smaller in size, a little shorter in size, and was able to get the donut on there. And then I just followed it home the 3 miles so you could pull it in. So, I mean, you just don't know. He has been at that grocery store. I kind of nag at him sometimes, and I say, you go there every day after work, and I'm like, I just want to see you at the end of the day. But he's been to that grocery store hundreds and hundreds of times, and he's probably come out the same way every single time, and nothing bad happened. But this time, it happened. It just happened, and it was nothing he could do or say about it that was going to change it all. And you just don't know. So he brought it home. The next day he was looking at it, took it apart to see what parts he needed. He ordered the parts, because there's just an order. Whenever you're going to fix something, there's an order of doing things. You look to see what's wrong. You find out what parts. You order the parts. You wait for the parts. And so they weren't going to come for a couple days. So the next problem is, how are we going to get him, or how is he going to get to work? He's in downtown Detroit, and we're up at 24 Mile. So we've done the bus thing before. So we figured out where the bus stop was, drop him off in the morning, pick him up in the night when he comes back. And so we did that for a couple days. And it took him longer to get to work, but he struck up conversations with people. And then there was he said he was talking about a lady that jumped on the bus with him, older lady, and he says she started talking to him when she got to the bus stop, and she talked to him the whole time they were on the bus. And she was telling him all her plans. She's going to go down to the casino and this kind of stuff. And he loves people. He loves to listen to people and talk to people. He's a very social person. And so, yes, he had a bus ride, and it was longer than usual. But he got to work on time. He did his full shift. He came back. And it's between Christmas and New Year. So his work doesn't have a lot going on. So he probably could have stayed at home, but he was like, no, I need to get to work, which is fine. But I'm just saying, the universe, okay, the universe doesn't care what's going on in your life. It's going to go on. The trees are still going to drop their leaves, and the birds are still going to eat your corn, or inside I'm growing some stuff under lights, and I've got some stupid aphids. The aphids are still going to bug your plants. The universe itself doesn't care, but the enemy of your soul does care. And if you haven't noticed that as soon as you're dealing with one particular struggle, there's usually another one that goes right behind it. And then there's another one that comes right behind it. Sometimes people say they come in threes. These things come in threes. And it's like a dog pile of stuff that happens. I finally got to the point where I said, you know what? I think that by the time, like the first crisis, you're like, oh my gosh. The second crisis, you're like, oh my gosh. And then by the third crisis, you're like, I can't believe it. Like, it's almost laughable that there are so many different things piled on at one time. You know? Oh. Right before my stepdad died, I think it was Tuesday. Tuesday, we had to have some grout work done in our main bathroom because like the grout was actually coming out from the bricks, subway tiles, and then we had like little stone insets that the people before us had put in, and it was really pretty, but the grout was coming out really bad. So we had to get that redone, and we found a place that would do it for pretty inexpensive for us. So that was Tuesday, and they said you can't use this bathroom for at least 2 days, 48 hours, because the grout has to cure. And we're like, okay, that's fine. We've got one in the mud room. That's fine. We have another bathroom we can use. So I was like, okay, not a problem. I just grabbed my stuff, and I had to go to my aunt's funeral. My aunt had been in hospice for about 2 years, and they had her funeral Wednesday. So Tuesday was the grout. Wednesday they had their funeral, and so I had to do something with my hair because I had to shower. And so I go into the mudroom shower, and I turn the little thing on, and I put all my stuff up, and I'm ready to go. And then I went to move the head, like if this is attached to the wall, I went to move the head, and here, like, something happened here where there was like no water coming down here, and there was a little water trickling from here, and I'm like, what is going on now? And I'm trying like the little nozzles and stuff. I'm like, maybe they're blocked up. I don't know what's going on. And then it dawned on me that the water at the wall was going somewhere. I mean, it was like a half wall that separates the shower from like the toilets on the other side. So I peek around the wall, and there was water just pouring out of the wall. Like pouring out of the wall. I broke the shower. I broke the one shower that we could use. I was like, wow, this is very interesting. Again, like I said, after so many different things go on, I've reached the point where I refuse to lay down in a fetal position anymore and suck my thumb. I refuse. And so what I'll do then is, when I am under more and more stress, and I could feel, I'm like, somebody's trying to get me going here, I will deliberately go and help other people. I will find people to help. I might go on a garden board, and if people are asking for advice, I'll look stuff up for them, or I'll give them feedback, or look over a design for somebody, or whatever. My friends, if they have a problem, I'll try and help them solve it. Whatever it is. So I just figure that if my enemy is after me to get me discouraged, he's going to see that every time he tries, I'm going to maintain a decent attitude, and I will try to deflect that stress into energy helping other people. So every time he comes and tries to get me, I'll be like, oh, let me see who else I can help. Who else looks like they're lonely? Who else could use a friend? Who else maybe needs just a phone call and I can talk with them? And I'm not going to talk about what's going on in my life necessarily unless they ask, but I'm at those points I am like there for them. So a brand new year is not going to mean a brand new you. If your thought patterns were crappy last year in 2020, they're going to be crappy this year in 2023 unless you decide to change them, unless you actively decide to change them. And the first thing you got to do is you have to be aware of them first. You have to know, what is my brain telling me every single day, 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 every single day? What is it? What are these 60% of thoughts that my brain is automatically feeding to me because it's done it for my whole life? What are they? And you're not going to know them just by sitting and just being quiet. You're going to need to write them out, or you're going to need to type them out, or you're going to need to voice to text in your memo in your phone or something like that to know, what are these thoughts that are going through my head? What is my brain giving me?